Ranvijay, thank you for doing this.
Thanks for having me, for teaching me also. It was good.
So, what I wanted to share with you was that our mission as martial artists is not only to make people strong in body, but it is also to make people strong in mind and spirit. We believe in holistic development. And I've heard you talk about this in one of the MMA events where you came. I heard you talking about the importance of, people becoming strong and people becoming a fighter in their mind. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
For me, I think it's very important for you to be physically fit and to be able to defend yourself. But I've seen more often than not, anybody who trains, be it in MMA, be it in any martial arts or even any sport, they become strong physically, but the effect happens on their mind because it's actually this is the only place where you're out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, human beings have become very soft. We are in the ACs, we can eat at whatever time, we don't not a lot of us fast. We're not like in any kind of place where we build resilience. But if you're into sports or anything, you build resilience, which actually results in your mental toughness. Which means that even if you're in a corporate sector and somebody says कि आज तुमने सही काम नहीं किया, you don't go home and you don't become like upset about it. If you're through a sports background, or if you work out, you're like, okay, tomorrow I'll be better.
I'll deal with it.
I'll be better, because when you lose every day in sports, right? You don't go home and say, oh, I lost today. You go home saying, यार कल ना हम वो strategy करेंगे, उसको ना ऐसे करवाएंगे और फिर हम दोनों एक टीम हो जाएंगे, उसको defend करना, उसको ये करना. You learn to combat your problems. You learn to overcome them, as opposed to other places where you feel like, अरे यार आज हमसे हुआ नहीं. So mental toughness is very important, because if you're mentally tough, your body will follow.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like if you do any endurance thing, like if you're cycling and you're going uphill, the thing is, uphill you can cycle. It's physically possible to cycle uphill. It's not physically possible for somebody to pick up 500 kgs if they've never trained. But cycling is possible. What makes a person stop is your mind. So if your mind is saying, you know what, I'm not going to stop, तो ये मुश्किल है, अब ये चलता रहता है, because it is possible to keep cycling. It's just tough, and over a period of time it becomes tougher and tougher, and your mind's like, stop, yeah, because you can't do it. There, if your mind is strong, you'll continue to do it, because physically cycling is possible. It is a different thing when you're picking up like 500 kg deadlift, आपने कभी भी नहीं 100 भी नहीं उठाया, तो that's not even possible. So उधर ये नहीं कि मेरा mind is too strong. If you are,
so in a way, it can be different for different people.
Also, when you're tough, if your mind is tough, you can also tackle situations better because you're confident about that.
Yeah.
When you get scared and nervous, like a lot of animals, why do they attack human beings? Because human beings are in their area, they don't know what the behavior of the animal is. The animal is nervous, and the only thing it knows is to attack.
It's
so even with human beings, if you're scared and you're nervous and you don't know your physical strength, whether you're capable of defending yourself, or if you're not mentally tough, then you act in a way which could be harmful for you. You
and
attack,
others.
you do something, and then. Whereas if you're confident and if you can tackle the situation, because you know that if this goes, अगर थोड़ा खराब भी होगा तो ही मैं handle कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ. So that toughness is important. And as a sportsman, you lose. 100% you lose. You can't always win.
Yeah.
That losing teaches you, like the guys who lost in the fight, they are not, that loss has taught them, okay, the other person, I have to practice more. Maybe I have to eat better. Maybe I have to sleep better. Maybe मैंने practice ज़्यादा की, लेकिन मेरे को game time ज़्यादा चाहिए. मेरे को sparring ज़्यादा चाहिए.
So the failure, instead of making you bitter and upset, is actually making you better.
And tougher mentally.
So it's like bitter or better.
Bitter or better.
And
it's like a dark chocolate.
Is
yeah.
Mental toughness, we talk about these things, and a lot of people talk about these things. But do you think mental toughness is required for everything in life? Like if you want to be successful, right?
For everything.
You've done such a great journey in your professional life. I'm sure you required mental toughness at different parts in the journey.
So I feel like mental toughness is also not very easy to, if you hear a podcast, if you hear two people who've achieved whatever in their, it's not information. You can't just gather it. It's not like,
I'm going to be mentally tough.
You're not load it up. It's not like a skill, मैंने देख लिया, मैं mentally tough हो गया. It happens through your exposure. It happens through what your parents have put you through. What are you exposed to? Have you been to situations? If you've been in a boarding school, by default there is a toughness, because you're alone. पहले आप अपने mom dad के साथ घर पे रहते थे, सब कुछ आपका काम हो रहा है. Suddenly in a boarding school you're fending for yourself. There are seniors that are gunning for you, between your friends. It's a hostile environment. You become tough. It's like that simple. If you send a kid to a boarding school, but sometimes some people who go to the boarding school वो और भी shell में आ जाते हैं, because उधर भी उनके साथ थोड़ा like they're like, dude, how do I handle this? I think the exposure, it depends on the parents to make their kids mentally tough. Teachers, everything cannot be handouts to kids, right? अरे आज मुझे भागा नहीं जा रहा पर मुझे
Participation trophy.
हाँ, I don't
Participation
know about, that
trophy.
is
सारे
encouraging.
खेल
Now
रहे हैं,
here's the
सबको
thing,
दे दो.
but that is encouraging. Sometimes some people need that participation trophy. This is a judgment, like how you were telling me ना कि यहाँ पे तुम्हें जज करना है कि कब वो red line cross हो गया और तुम्हें मारना है. There's a judgment that as a parent you know that you need to encourage your kid or a tough lesson needs to be given. And if you make your kid mentally tough, वो investment banker हो, doctor हो, वो एक content creator हो, actor हो, mentally tough हो तो चाहे वो shoot late हो जाए, चाहे आपका बैंक का पैसा जा, कुछ भी हो, you're tough, you're ready to deal with the next situation, not taken aback, and you can okay assess this, okay, let's go for it, because that's the only thing. If
This
you're
is
mentally
where we,
tough,
I think, also need to educate parents.
100%.
And the
So
school system, education system, all these things need to get upgraded because one teacher teaching 50 students, pretty much the same thing, not taking into account individual strengths and weaknesses.
what you're saying is correct, but I feel like with more exposure, and if we are talking about it, of course in education systems they talk about it. Lots of schools these days are looking at mental well-being of kids. They're like, okay, we're not going to do stuff. वैसे पहले तो हमारे को teachers लेट आया पटाख सिरा मार ही पड़ रही होती थी, राइट? तो कई लोग टफ हो गए, कई लोग उससे और भी डर गए और इनसिक्योर हो गए. So I think these days is more exposure. If we have come here for a workout and you're talking about it, it means it's something that people now talk about. 10 साल पहले तो बातें नहीं हो रही थी.
बिल्कुल.
So I think even in the education system, it's been people are focusing on it. I'm a parent, so even we talk about it. Okay, I want to make my kids strong mentally, physically, and then they can do even if you're a singer, you got to be mentally tough. Even if you're a chef, you got to be mentally tough.
Yeah, you will get
And
criticism.
and it's got nothing to do with anything else. You just have to have your self-belief in whatever you do. You become mentally tough by being a great artist because you've gone through ups and downs. थोड़ा सा साथ में अगर physically active रहोगे तो it's a confidence booster more than the ability of what you can do. कितने लोगों को पीटा आपने आज तक? But you're confident, and that confidence shows in your other entrepreneurial skills, in your when you talk to people, in your conversations, because you know your physical ability, so it helps. It gives you confidence, and then that helps you in every other sphere of life.
Fantastic. Thank you for this conversation,
Thank you,
Ranvijay. I really appreciate what you're doing to, promote MMA, promote mental toughness. These are the causes that I feel people like you who have that star power need to stand behind, because these things, they have a ripple effect and they make the world a better place. So thank you for doing your part, man. Thank you so